So let's start with some news that is coming in from the United States, where the outgoing President Donald Trump has now fired the Director of Homeland Security Cyber Security, Christopher Krebs. Trump took to Twitter directly linking Krebs' statement of no voter fraud in November 3rd election to his termination. Now, Trump further claimed that there was massive fraud, including dead people who in fact came out to cast their votes. Now, poll watchers not allowed into polling locations, glitches in the voting machines which swapped Republican votes to Democrats' favor. Twitter has flagged both of these tweets as quote-unquote disputed claims, even though they're being made by the incumbent president. Now, just last week, Krebs had told his associates that he expects to be fired. Now, Krebs was working personally on protecting the 3rd of November election from hackers. Now, Krebs has drawn praise from both the Democrats and also the Republicans for his handling of the election. But he's drawn the ire of the president after he started a website called Rumour Control, which debunks misinformation about the election. Now, interestingly, the page has also got a fact check on mail-in ballots, something that President Trump has denounced throughout his campaign. The Krebs website clearly states the authorities have prevented issuing of home-printed or photocopied mail-in ballots from being counted. The White House officials have asked Krebs for content to be edited or removed. Reports suggest that the CISA was also pushed to peddle lies against the Democrats through the website. Now, Trump has gone on a bit of a firing spree as he refuses to concede defeat to President-elect Joe Biden. The departure is part of a churn in the administration since the Republican President Donald Trump was defeated by the Democrat contender Joe Biden in the election that took place on the 3rd of November.
We hope. Amazing vaccine at 90. 3 other vaccines are also in the final stage.
All right, now to give us more insights into what is actually happening, we're joined in by our correspondent Jagrati Dave, who's joining us live from Washington, D.C. Now, Jagrati, this is the latest sighting that has taken place within the Trump administration. What are we to make of it, especially because Donald Trump is expected to demit from office on the 20th of January?
Well, this is the president clearly doubling down on his claims that have no evidence of widespread voter fraud, and it's also a continuation of what we've seen with the president removing from office those that he considers disloyal. It's been described as a purge by some in the last few days of his administration, which he has not yet accepted officially that it is the last few remaining days of his administration. Chris Krebs was generally considered sort of bipartisan, in a bipartisan way, to be somebody who was considered competent, had done a good job, and he was essentially maintaining that the US election had been secure. He had released a statement. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency had released a statement by a group of election officials, which said that the November the 3rd election was the most secure in American history, and this is, and they also said that there was no evidence that that any voting system had involved deleting of votes, altering of votes, and that the system was in any way compromised. This was something that had been put in bold in that statement, just to emphasise that there was the claims of voter fraud were unfounded, and so we have seen the president tweeting, firing an official who headed an agency which was originally intended to counter foreign election interference, but had increasingly become the vehicle for debunking voter fraud myths that ended up being perpetuated by the President of the United States. So really an extraordinary story here.
Absolutely, indeed.